Que querencia, que querencia.
I wasn't prepared for that. Hello, welcome to La Suerte vlog. We haven't been here for a while, so I'm here today with Dave. My name is Michal. We are going to talk about Timba music. We thought that once for a while we have to meet you in here and talk a bit, because this is one of the ways to improve, one of the ways we can educate you a bit, and obviously one of the ways we can share with you our passion as well. And we are quite passionate about music, especially about Timba music. Before we give you our very subjective top 10 of our songs, couple things. I thought I'll do it today in a bit different way. Like and subscribe, and press boom at the bell. This is how Timba music works, more or less.
I wasn't prepared for that.
So, like, subscribe, and press the bell before we start. Probably this is our first episode about music in this context and about Timba. Maybe we should talk first what Timba is for you.
I didn't know what Timba was for a long time.
Yeah.
I knew, obviously, you hear this word salsa, don't you? And it's
Yeah, of course.
used loads. But Timba isn't really well defined. I remember when you advertised the parties at La Suerte, you always put like Timba, salsa, and maybe bachata and kizomba and stuff. But I just thought, what is this word Timba? I mean, so how would you define it?
Yeah, so I had this discussion with somebody recently, and my thought was that Timba is what salsa's supposed to be. Because if you think what salsa is, it's like the word salsa, like a soft mix of many things. And this is this is what Timba is really now.
Yeah.
When salsa got a bit plain, I don't want to maybe call it this way, and some people might get offended, but from our perspective, this is how exactly it works. So what defines Timba for me is the feel in the music, really. That's another thing. So it's not really about a mix of many genres, it's more the feel that music creates. Because we were discussing songs like Remenea, Perna Gem.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, all the songs that we are going to talk about, they will land in the description. I will put some titles on the bottom of the screen as well, but in the description you have all links to all songs we are going to talk about, to Spotify if I find it on YouTube probably as well. Okay, so coming back to Remenea. Remenea was, I don't want to call it pop song, but a bit hip hoppy. It was Berna Gem and Seo Fernandez. So Seo Fernandez was a hip hop salsa dancer, really, yeah, and he made a song. So this song was more or less like he was. So very hip hoppy, very modern, very optimistic, kind of poppy, yeah. And now, is this Timba already or not yet? For me, this is salsa pop, but some people would argue that this is a mix of many different styles. So it kind of falls under the Timba category.
So when you say Timba, what bands are you thinking of?
So definitely, starting from the beginning, I would have Anehela Banda, Michael Blanco, Manolito, Pupi, Havana de Primera, Caeral definitely as well, Papucho also from the new one, El Nino. So it's been evolving, or Tirso Duarte, obviously.
So all the stuff that we listen to here and dance to here, under the name salsa, it is in fact called Timba. That's the proper name.
Yes, definitely. So we are calling our classes salsa classes, but music we're playing is definitely Timba, and actually some people refer to way of dancing as Timba as well. So when you don't only stick to basic routines, basic moves, basic combinations, but you start interacting with these different feels in music.
And when you say a mix of different styles, what styles do you mean?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's a crucial thing. So they have to be specific styles. So it's definitely something what would come as salsa, so like, traditional tumbao, montuno on piano, things like that, but different drum patterns instead of tumbao. So like in regular salsa, I would say, okay, if I hear tumbao on drums, I wouldn't classify this as timba. Or if it has some other elements that are irregular, maybe yes. But if everything is regular, everything falls into this basic rules. So like very rhythmical piano, yeah, like typical, one of the typical patterns. Tumbao on drums, regular bass pattern. No drum set. The drum set could be one of the indicators as well. But then again, if you go for hip hoppy style of music, then you will have drum kit as well, and then I wouldn't call it timba.
For me, timba is any music which has evolved from son cubano, which is danceable. We dance salsa to it, but it has elements of jazz. It has elements of maybe R&B, hip hop. It has elements of rumba, Cuban folkloric music, like music for the orishas and palo. Maybe not palo rhythms, because that's in 6/8, but certainly references to those songs and stuff.
But then you have bands like Irakere, like with a lot of funk in it as well.
And funk, yeah.
And that's one of the first bands that people are saying that they are one of the bands responsible for creation of timba music.
Yeah. Which brings me to my first pick.
Yeah. Wait a second.
Seamless.
We'll get to picks in a second. We'll get back to Irakere. We'll get back to Irakere. Okay. Last thought of introduction. So we let's say that timba for us is this mix of different styles, but still associated with Cuban culture. Yeah, I would say this is one of the things. So there are some elements of music that don't really belong to Cuban culture in a way, or they belong in different way, and those which we associate. Okay, this is again very subjective. Extremely subjective. This episode is what we feel about this music, not what people say. Some people might have completely different opinion, and we are okay with that. That's not a problem. But I would say that, yeah, exactly what Dave said, like the specific mix of styles. Not everything will fit there. However, more and more influences are added. Very often, like, I don't know, in Tirso Duarte songs, old ones especially, you had many references to, I don't know, Beverly Hills Cop theme in it, or there was this Italian romantic song.
He takes pop songs and typifies them. I think that's what his SEO is, his stamp. That's what he kind of starts with a pop song and then...
So the same happens with Alfredo Rodriguez. So Alfredo Rodriguez, the pianist, on his Facebook page, very often he takes well-known song and he actually calls it timbifying the song, or I don't know, Little Mermaid timba version.
Super Mario
timba version. He's done quite many of them. I would say quite successfully. It's a big shame, Alfredo Rodriguez, if you're watching this, listen. It's a big shame you are not producing real timba music, because you would be good in it. Yeah, jazz is alright. Some people like it. I know that this is your target audience, but we would like to dance to your song. So if you create some cool timba, we'll dance to it. Thanks.
You've got an agent here if you want.
I think he has a lot better agent than me. Okay, to the point. Which bands would you say are responsible for the sound of modern Cuban music? So why it sounds like it sounds?
Los Van Van.
Los Van Van, for sure.
I'd say Irakere as well, like you mentioned.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'd say all of the son bands that came before them, Elio Reve as well, Orchestra Reve, because Los Van Van actually came from Pupi and what's it called, Juan Formel, came from Orchestra Reve.
Yeah.
So there's actually...
But Pupi came from Los Van Van, I mean, it was like... So yeah, the few of them...
No, both of them played in Orchestra Reve.
Yeah, and they created Los Van Van.
Yeah.
And then, Pupi decided to move away and start his own project. So definitely, I agree with that. I would say those two, Los Van Van and Irakere, I think because if you think about songs that sound the closest to modern timba, the furthest you can look is like 90s, 70s, or can you think about anything before that?
No.
Yeah, so I would say 1970s, and this is where you have this Irakere songs from and Los Van Van.
We should say as well, in song, it's also the tradition of incorporating lots of folkloric elements, even sometimes rumba, and timba isn't the first genre which, or even songo, isn't the first genre which combined these rhythms, you know, and melodies and chorus.
So some comes to my mind, Sinfuegos.
Sinfuegos, yeah.
Okay, that's modern song.
No,
quite modern song. I mean,
no, it's not. It's not.
Because Grupo Danzón is covered.
Yeah. Ibrahim Ferrer, Buena Vista did it, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how old it is. It's probably even older than their recordings. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe if someone knows, they can tell us.
We'll Google it and we'll post it on the bottom. No worries.
Yeah.
Okay. The point is that this song includes both son and rumba. I mean, it starts with rumba in general, and then it kind of transitions to son. So yeah, you could say that these were the first steps for timba music. However, the timba doesn't have to have this rumba influence. There are many songs that even let's say majority of Kairal music. I know that in some of them you have rumba clave and stuff like that, but if you take the whole song as a whole, it doesn't feel much like rumba. It has very, very different feel, and you still call this timba, no?
Yeah. I think timba as well, if we're going to get technical into the music side, I don't know if that's interesting to you, but, well, I know it's interesting to you, but to you as the audience, is this gears concept, isn't there? And the fact that the percussion battery changes its rhythmical accompaniment according to feel within this, what you were talking about, feel before. And you can play the same piano part again and again, but if you change the way the percussion and especially the bass works, maybe the bass just completely drops out and starts playing more of like a like that kind of thing, or whatever. I'm not a very good imitation. Maybe if I had a bass, I'd be able to show. Yes, it totally changes the feel and it ramps up the energy. And it's basically playing with energy levels. Like maybe at the beginning of the song, in the verse, kind of the cuerpo part of the song, it's very like low and you just feel like dancing.
I would even say I would go further than that. So one of the songs that I selected for today is exactly how you are saying. It's exactly how you are describing. I picked it deliberately for that reason. And okay, maybe we'll slowly start talking about song. And I picked Que Te Vaya Bien. By Tirso Duarte, and my theory is that songs that start really rubbish, they evolve to something amazing very often, and this is very good example of the song like that. Like if you stick to listening first 20, 30, 40 seconds of the song, hoping to have an idea how song works further, you're wrong. It doesn't work like that. And I remember we agreed that when we talk about this song, we'll bring some stories back. And I remember when I listened to, I think it was called Me Gusta Puchi by Timbalive for the first time. Album came out and I was like, oh, there is this one very energetic, dynamic song. I'll have to play it when we were still teaching at Cuba Cafe back in times. So before classes started, I just played this song. I think I danced with Anna. And the song was like 5-6 minutes long, maybe. It started very dynamically, very energetic, but it was all the time like that, like through whole song. And after around 3-4 minutes, I was just like, oh, the song should end now. Yeah, so the first impression that song makes usually is not the one that you get after a couple of hearings. These songs are growing on you. And I should say about that as well. Don't get discouraged by first impression of timba, because my first one was not great. Even when the first songs, okay, I had this folder called Timba Piotrek, so some guy called Piotrek created folder with 20 songs, and I think there was Michael Maza there was Michael Blanco, there was Manolito, there were some even like Angel Bonne, so like one of the singers of Los Van Van at the time as well. So there were these songs that I was not very impressed with, but I didn't know much. But first two songs that I remember very well, that I got from somewhere. Somebody sent them to me and I was like, listen, this music is amazing. And this was Havana de Primera and was Oni Oni and Resumen de los 90. And I was like, Like, I was like, yeah, it's alright. I feel nothing to it. But then after few listens, like it grows and grows. And then after time, when you start understanding music a bit more, it's really, really exciting to dance. But first impression was not that great.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And also, the thing is with those types of songs, especially Havana de Primera, they're so layered. I mean, they've got like 18 musicians or something. But every time you listen to that song like that, you can hear something completely new and go, what? I've heard this song hundreds of times now, and yet I never heard that little bit there. And you can use it in your dancing. And
so I have another thought, adding on top of what you just said. I think when you discover new things is when you start dancing to it. So you think like, oh, I know this moment, I'll accent it. And it's, there was something else. I missed that. And then the next time you're like, okay, now I know a bit more. And again, it grows. You start hearing more and more, you start understanding more and more, and you start kind of liking it more and more as well. That's a very interesting thing. And for that reason, the selection of the songs, at least in my case, I've chosen some songs that are not very new, but I still like them. So many people say like, oh, I will not listen to this song anymore because I will stop liking it. It doesn't happen for me with Timba, or at least with some specific songs.
Definitely.
Okay.
I think it's almost like, no, I don't want to be romantic, but I'm just going to say it's almost like falling in love with a person, isn't it? It's like you can see someone that's really beautiful and attractive, and you can go, oh my God, they're so gorgeous or whatever. Really, really. But really, the people that you fall in love with are probably the ones that, you grow to kind of appreciate them, and they might not be the most attractive person in the world, but you see something in them and they make you feel something, which is special and just grown over time. And that's how I feel about my favourite Timba songs.
Okay, so we have a new definition of Timba. It's a good one. I like this. This is very good. This is very good. Okay, so let's start with our songs. So I think we went with different key, what is kind of good. So I decided to go for the bands and choose some songs from those bands. What I would say is this will be not top 10 in order. It's rather unorganized list. I mean, at least in my case.
10?
No, 5 each.
Okay,
yeah,
right. Okay.
5 each.
I was going to say, that makes it so much easier. It's hard to pick 5, but pick 10.
Yeah, I know. It was a bit difficult. And this is very subjective. And probably, if you ask me in a couple of months, I will give you another 5. I mean, maybe some of them will change, some of them will not. But sometimes I have different impressions about songs. But again, I've chosen songs that are kind of meaningful in some way. Okay, you want to start with your first one?
No, I'll be a gentleman and let you start.
Okay, so I will not come with anything creative, and I'll go with Mi Música, Havana de Primera.
I mean, it's a very creative song, so...
It is very creative song, but it's not very creative choice.
Okay.
Definitely we had to mention Havana de Primera. I believe Dave has one of the Havana de Primera songs on his list as well. I've chosen Mi Música. This song is very... I don't want to say different to other Havana de Primera songs, but again, every time when you're dancing, you discover something new. It's very, very deep. And another thing is, this is one of the songs, if not the song, that made Havana de Primera, really, because he brought it, Alexander Abreu brought it from Grupo Danzón. So there was recording of this song with Grupo Danzón. So you might know this or not, probably some of you do, that Alexander Abreu used to live in Denmark for quite a while in Europe. He was part of Grupo Danzón, a band in Denmark. I even seen them live. I believe it was 2011. They were on Festival Cubano in Łódź, in Poland. And then when they came, I don't want to say we were disappointed, but obviously I was not that much into Cuban music at that point. And if somebody told me like, oh, Grupo Danzón is coming, it's like, oh, some band from Denmark. And it was this feel like, especially that the previous year, I remember we had Tirso Duarte, Calle Real. It was like massive concert. And then the year after, Grupo Danzón, and I was like, Grupo Danzón? Like a bit, it didn't meet my expectations when it comes to the name, but music-wise, obviously now when we talk about it, even for your selection today, you took some Grupo Danzón songs as well, no?
Yeah.
So not even Havana Primera, not Alexander Abreu, but Grupo Danzón. It is very interesting band to check if you never listened to. Again, all links in description, you can check them out. But Mi Música was created by Alexander Abreu in Grupo Danzón. He took it later to Havana de Primera. So we can jump to yours, Grupo Danzón and Havana de Primera selections.
So I chose Canción de Verano.
Okay.
Because again, like going back to the love thing, falling in love, it's something which didn't grab me by the balls immediately, you know. But it starts off so gentle and almost romantic, and it makes you want to dance on at the beginning, and then it just ramps up the energy levels. There's a break in there, like in Mi Música, which is like this shifted tresillo thing for the music geeks out there. It's not tresillo as in ba ba ba. It's the same rhythm, but it's delayed by half the beat. So, so if you clap the beats, they kind of do it.
So this okay. What he's talking about now is probably very random for you, but this is something what creates the feel when you are dancing. So not everything is like super predictable, super plain. Sometimes it moves your body in a bit weird way, and I think that's something what creates really good timba music.
This break is a transition from one section to another. This big gentle part of the song into the more driving part of the song, and actually there's a clave shift in it as well, like which doesn't. I mean, it doesn't happen super regularly, but it is a kind of. How would you say? It's a kind of typical thing in timba to kind of jump the clave, and it creates a different feel. It's like, whoa, what just happened? Like, huh? And then you listen, and then if you're like me, you listen to it again, and then again, and then again, and then like before you know it, 2 hours have passed, and your belly's rumbling, and you're just thinking, oh my god, I'm late for my bus. Yeah, but yeah, it's a beautiful song, and then towards the end, it's got a lovely like layered what I think is called ammonia, which is the brass section when the trumpets and the trombones kind of like converse with each other, and they're talking to each other and interchanging. It's dialogue, you know, and it's the climax of the song, and it just feels like it's taking you on a journey, and you're like,
this is very typical again for some music, this conversation, and for rumba as well.
Yeah.
So they definitely took a lot of inspiration from those styles. And what about Havana de Primera song?
Havana de Primera, well, this is
the new one, one of the new ones.
One of the new ones, the new album, Canto del Pueblo. So it's Pastilla de Menta, peppermint, I believe that means. So
possibly,
that's what Google Translate says. I mean, no, it could be wrong. For me, all the songs that I picked have a key moment in the song which I look forward to. I think that's why they become my favourites as well.
You like this, the one that animation comes.
Exactly, yeah. I remember being at the concert in London the first time I saw Havana de Primera, and the Michael Fonts and Freddie Clam were on stage, you know, like straddling Alexander Abreu either side of him, and they were all three of them were doing this. How does it go? Hey, so it's hey, agítala, hala por aquí, hala por allá, levanta la mano, mueve la cintura, salta. Yeah, that kind of thing. And again it goes again. And so this is like a key moment in the song where I just always look forward to it. And
I just thought, like, what was this the concert that they picked you up?
Yeah.
So that was a funny story about it. So he went for this concert, and there was like a camera going through the crowd, like facing the crowd, and actually it picked Dave like being crazy during the concert, and the organizer wanted to know who is this guy being crazy. That was quite funny. I'll just get back to Mi Música for a moment, because one thing is like I've seen the Grupo Danzón in 2011, and I don't know if it was the year after or maybe 2 years after in Barcelona. I have seen Havana de Primera actually quite many times, but I think that was the best concert I've seen of them. And it was maybe because it was in Spain and people were singing along, and it was very, very vibrant, very dynamic. Again, like you could feel everything happening, crowd moving. It's a very different impression of music that you get if you go, unfortunately, on the concert in UK. I know that you can enjoy yourself regardless, but very often I've seen people in UK standing on concert like that. Like, come on, like, enjoy this music. It doesn't happen often. And another reason why I picked the songs that I picked was, again, my impression of those songs during the live gig. Havana de Primera, again, I've seen it, or even in Manchester. Manchester was not a good concert. It was in Whitefield or Radcliffe or somewhere north of Manchester in Town Hall. The sound quality was disgusting. But it was maybe there was like 70 people. We get that, like tiny concert. And Havana de Primera was weird stuff. But yeah, the best one, I think it was in Barcelona, and it even beats Havana, I would say. Yeah, in Havana the concert was massive. It was just off the Malecon. They closed the road, like Malecon is this massive street going on the coast of Havana, and it's like 4 or 5 lines one direction and massive square in the middle just in front of American embassy. I think they do it deliberately. I think they do it deliberately. We'll come back to this American/Cuban problems a bit later when it comes to my other songs, but
okay. Oh, I know which one.
Yeah. But that's exactly what they do. There were like 10,000 people, probably maybe more, TV showing it live, and massive thing. However, the feel in Barcelona was better, but mainly because of how people reacted. And again, okay, so maybe I'll go towards the next song, like kind of fluently. Because this concert in Havana felt more like national holiday, like a national celebration. And it really was, because it was 1st of January, so this was the day when they celebrate the anniversary of Cuban Revolution. And very similar experience I had in London on concert of Los Van Van. I went to Los Van Van concert. Again, my biggest problem with UK concert is quality of sound. I don't know why they can't do it right. It's very rare that they do it right. They had like this Brooklyn Bowl thing when the sound quality was always good. Everywhere else, and this was not the greatest sound quality, but the concert felt so different because they were mainly Cubans, not really people interested in Cuban music, but Cubans with flags, cheering, jumping, dancing, not really dancing in the way we do. So not like, okay, there was some group of salsa people as well, but for many Cubans, seeing Los Van Van felt like a national celebration, and that's why I remember this concert. That's why it was different than any other. And for Los Van Van, I have controversial choice, and I'll go for Soy Todo.
Oh, okay. I didn't expect that.
Okay, there are songs that are kind of moving you in different way. Like Esto te pone la cabeza mala, that's very good song. All the time you feel like, go on, dance faster. So many accents, so many changes, everything happening. But Soy Todo is a song that when I listen with headphones, I have goosebumps.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like one of those. I have only 2 songs like that, and I like the version also of non Los Van Van version.
Who's that?
It's Orquesta Termidor Cuba.
Okay.
And do you know that? Okay, so they are playing something what they call salsa sinfonica. So this is like a symphonical arrangement. I don't know how many musicians, like 50-ish plus whatever, and they play covers of salsa songs. They have few of them that are good, like they have Y Que Te Quieres Que Te Den as well, in symphonic version, like
right, yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
Into that.
It's pretty crazy, but I like this Soy Todo, and with headphones it feels like very deep, and the lyrics are very nice as well. I don't know if you ever went through them, but
No. That's one of the things I wanted to say. Because I'm only learning Spanish, I have a very basic level of Spanish. I'm not picking songs based on lyrics, you know?
yeah. I mean,
I'm basing it on how it makes me
but
feel.
actually, this one I just translated.
I need to listen to it more.
It's very nice song. It's like very deep for musical point of view and from lyrical as well.
I think you should list a couple of Van Van songs because they've got such a large repertoire that it's
Yeah,
hard
of
to know,
course.
hard to know where to start with them.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
So Los Van Van, like we told you, they are one of the bands responsible for how the Cuban music sounds now. They created songo genre, and from there many other bands evolved. Yeah, so like even Pedrito Martinez, another of musicians of new generation, he calls his music merensongo. So like songo with some small twist that he created himself, but still based on songo. Anyway, so that would be my choice. Soy todo.
Just list a few more Los Van Van songs if people don't.
So, for example, one of the significant songs for me as well is Que Sorpresa, again covered by Havana de Primera, but originally by Los Van Van. Very often, or in general, La Candela, like all this, not even the song, but whole theme that expanded like so much. Like Pupi covered it obviously after he left Van Van, and even Pedrito Martinez and Calle Vapor and many people. So this is again very, very influential song, very important.
Timba, Tumba, Timba.
Timba Tumba Timba, yes. So okay, so you could classify this as Timba song, but when I started dancing, it was quite popular and it was very typical Rueda song. So people dance Rueda to it. Yeah. So every time Timba Tumba Timba went on, like Rueda, everybody running to dance Rueda. Like people really associated
because
this
it's
song.
quite regular.
Very regular. What else? I like Chapeando. Especially the beginning of it.
Such a unique song, that, isn't it? With jungle noise and like
During classes, obviously, I play Maquinaria a lot because it's again relatively nice rhythm, very slow song.
Yeah, and then obviously there's those songs with a long rumba introduction. So
Somos Cubanos or Havana de Matanzas. That's very, very nice songs. Very nice songs. Yeah. So, but these are kind of hardcore songs. When rumba meets salsa, very directly, so you have a lot of rumba in salsa. Okay, can I then add another song? Sorry, I don't let you tell your songs, but there is another song that mixes rumba and salsa that I chosen for my selection. And this is a song that, again, I told you that there are only two songs that create me goosebumps, so this is the second one.
Yeah, I know what it is.
Yeah, you know what it is. What is
it? Angelios?
No.
No,
it's not Angelios.
Is it not?
No, it's El Zorro.
El Zorro, okay.
Yeah.
I thought La Terrorista would give you goosebumps.
Okay, so I've chosen Terrorista for my list as well, but it doesn't give me goosebumps.
Spoiler alerts.
Yeah, sorry. So, like I said, it's El Zorro, and it's La Rumba Te Llama. The song that you cannot find anywhere. So I uploaded it somewhere on YouTube to my fake account, and it's there. It's not on Spotify. It's almost nowhere seen on YouTube. It is on YouTube only in concert version. But La Rumba Te Llama, the rumba part is not so impressive. It doesn't move me. But the change of gears after, that's something. Like it's just like so explosive. Like like always. Like if I roll my sleeves straight away. I have goosebumps. So that's only the second song that it happens.
Like love, like fun.
that's crazy song, and it's super unpopular. Even back in times, people were not playing it at the party, mainly because of this very long rumba part. I think rumba part has like 1 minute 20, 1:30, pretty long part. So sometimes DJs like DJs, dancers, they especially in UK, they don't respond very well if the rumba part is too long.
But you're saying that it's changing now, especially in Europe. It's almost like considered compulsory. If you dance salsa, then you need to have an acquaintance with rumba, at least be able to do the basics.
Otherwise, you miss a big chunk of music. It's really disappointing when you see the dance floor dying because the song is too complex. And that's, I mean, I don't expect here anybody again to respond well to jazz, because this is not exactly what we are aiming for as well. But those basic elements like song, like rumba, to be able to react when they happen in music. Okay,
I'm gonna go for Calle Real, Swedish band, but with a lot of people from all over Europe, and also a guy, I think the Timbalive plays from Cuba.
Trumpet player is from Poland.
Is he? Represent Poland, eh? So it's Princesa. And this song again.
Not an obvious choice.
Is it not? No.
I mean,
it's obvious for me.
Okay. if I had to go for Calle again, and if I had to go, not because of the music taste, but because of the feel that it created, or because of the experiences that it created in the past, like at the parties, and I would go definitely for Somos Familia.
Yeah.
That's the song probably I heard at the beginning of my salsa journey. The most of the times.
This is why, talking about the beginning of salsa journey, this is why I picked Calle Real. I think they're a good way in to Timba, appreciating Timba, because it's not too. It's complex, but it's accessible somehow. You know.
Yeah, so you can easily dance to it, but then over time you can still notice new things and appreciate them again.
Yeah.
So you can come back.
So when you first started dancing, obviously you just want something which has got a very easily findable rhythm that is, pretty solid, and you can totally dance a whole song of Calle Real just doing sombrero and then Coca-Cola and then whatever. But then there's so many accents in there, and the accents, the way that they do it, I don't know how they do it, but they're quite clever. They seem to be either predictable or very easily. You can remember them quite easily. So I think that's why I feel like they're accessible.
I have a story about Calle Real. I mean, maybe a few of them. So I've seen them live again a couple of times. First time, it was like 2010. That was my first. I remember this one because that was my first Cuban festival ever, and Calle Real was the big star of this festival. Then I've seen them after. That was a lot better concert. I don't know, a couple of years later. But when I went to Cuba, I met the guy. He was actually our landlord in Cuba. We were renting a flat from him. He was collecting Cuban music. And we were exchanging a lot of music, and we were discussing a bit as well. And he asked me like, "Oh, what do you guys listen in? What do you guys listen to in Europe?" So I said like, majority of what you mentioned. So I will not surprise you with that, but I will play you some Calle Real. And I played him that, and he was like, "What's that?" I was like, "Where do you think they are from?" I said, "Definitely from Cuba, but I don't know them." So I said, "No, they are from Sweden." "No, this is impossible. They cannot be from Sweden." So yeah, they are from Sweden. So that was another proof. Like the person who is genuinely interested in Cuban music, he was very interesting person. He introduced me really to Benny Moré. So I was not very appreciative towards Benny Moré. I don't know if I am still there when it comes to music, but as a public figure, as a person that he is a person that Cuban people associate with Cuban music. So like if you ask them about the biggest name in whole history of Cuban music, majority would say Benny Moré. So he's like, he even told me that he is like our Michael Jackson.
I mean, how can you compare those two?
So exactly. Ridiculous. So no, I don't think it's ridiculous. Like because obviously it's for some people, they were not exposed the same to American culture as we are. You have to have that in mind as well. Okay, so about this relation between US and America, I forgot to tell about it when I was talking about Soy Todo. So Soy Todo has a couple of different versions. I told you about this Orquesta Termidor, and there is this version from the album recorded during the concert in Miami in 1999, when Los Van Van went there, and there were massive protests, anti-communist protests in US. They wanted to stop the concert happening. Cuban people were saying like, "Oh, come on, we are not associated, Cuban people living in Miami, we are not associated with the government. We just enjoy our own music. Yeah, and we want to listen to Los Van Van. But at the same time, anti-communist movement in US was protesting, would try to stop the concert. I read that the mayor of Miami at that point was very right-winger as well, and he wanted to stop it as well. But they pushed it through. But the concert was disturbed. Like there were people shouting, screaming outside of this Miami arena. And Los Van Van, to kind of show that they are independent, that they don't care, or in a way to protest as well, they played whole concert faster. So all songs are faster. And this version of Soy Todo feels very different as well. And there are some other songs. This, again, I mentioned that already before, Que Sorpresa. So you associate again Que Sorpresa with very, very slow song. And this one is not so slow. It's very strange arrangement. The album is available on Spotify, and there are obviously songs on YouTube. We'll link them on the bottom, as usual, and you can come back to KRL.
Well, okay. So KRL, for me, the thing which really grabs me about them is the pianist. I think they call him Eldoni, and he's definitely Swedish. But he went to Cuba and he studied, and he actually I don't think he was a pianist before. He maybe knew a little bit, but he actually studied the tres cubano, which is the guitar with the 3 courses of strings, which has a lot of similarities with piano, but it's more used in a song context. So he took what he learned there and he applied it to playing piano, and he creates the most amazing piano tumbos ever, which are so like make you just want to move. I've told you before, like many times I've been at a party and I've just felt a bit shy or lacking in confidence, and then you hear that and you just go, no, I'm gonna dance, and that's it, and nothing can stop me, because this music just compels me to. And I think as a pianist myself, if I could compose songs and piano tumbos like Eldoni, I'd be so proud of myself, because that is amazing, especially coming from a culture which is so far removed from Cuban culture, He's amazing, and one of the heroes of mine. Yeah.
Okay, you want to go with the next one?
Yes, okay, so what have I got here? I'll go with Se Sigue Comentando.
Okay.
Elio Reve version. There's lots of versions of this song.
So this is the album with the brown and white cover.
Yeah. I think it's called Se Sigue Comentando. Yeah. And again, there's another key moment in this song which I always look forward to. Yeah. And boom, 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 boom. Oh, it's amazing. It's just incredible. Like that moment in the song.
When it comes to I would say this is the best concert song. Like this, hearing this on the concert, this is super cool. On the album, I think they made this version too short. I mean, this part too short.
Well, the thing with Elio Reyes songs, it's just they seem to fade out a lot of them, and it's like almost like, okay, if you want more, you got to come and see us in concert.
And you get that. You get that. Actually, to be completely fair, you get that. I remember again Lito Reve concert in London. I think that I wasn't disappointed with the concert, but I think he was a bit with audience, because it was not interacting as he would expect. Like I could see him many times like staring at the crowd, expecting them to move, and they were not really. So what he did during Aqua Pa' Maya song, he took a bowl of water and he was just splashing people. So people started a bit moving away. So what he did, he took whole bowl and that was better. There was more to that, because the ceiling in the building was relatively low. So all this water stuck on the ceiling, and it was dripping during all the concert. So there was like a lot of people in front, and then like a gap in the middle when the water was dripping.
He's a crazy guy.
He's the crazy.
This is Elito Reve. So he's the son of Elio.
Yes. That's the song.
Oh yeah.
But he continues obviously.
You always know when you're listening to an Elito Reve song, because he goes, que querencia.
I wasn't prepared for that. Okay. I've chosen a Lito Reve song as well, but I went again more classical for 1999. But again, the original version, the Gente de Zona one is not the same for me. I know that there are some people who really like it, and again, I respect that. But my favorite is definitely the original one. I don't know. It's like you said about Calle Real, that they create this predictable accent, and the same I have the same feeling I have about Elito Reve. Like I don't know, predict abanicos. Yeah, I just know they're happening. I don't know how, I don't know why, but I know it's there.
So what is an abanico, first of all?
Abanico is this 5 quick hits on timbales just before one. Yeah, so that is like and I like this about Elito Reve. It happens in many of their songs. Yeah, and when we were playing in the band Essa Soy Yo, like obviously we didn't have good timbales in our band, but always when we played it, I was like, oh, it's there, it should be there. Well, I was playing congas then, and yeah, but I had this feeling like, oh, it should be there. It's kind of interesting how they create this feel, many accents, many different layers. Again, very complex music and very unique style. So now during the classes, normally I ask people what band we're playing. They're not necessarily, I'm not asking about titles of the songs. I should ask about that as well. But I ask them what band do they think we are playing at the moment. Because many of them have very characteristic feel. So like Calle Real, you cannot mistake it with anything else. It's unique, it's special. The same with Elito Reve, yeah? He calls himself El Príncipe del Changui. It's like Prince of Changui. So basically, they are not playing Changui in a classical form, but again, can I call it Timbified Changui?
No, I'm not even sure you can say that, but you can say certainly
the
roots.
Use the drum kit in general.
The roots of the music, obviously the roots of their culture, where they're from, is it from Guantanamo? Or
I'm not sure.
It is Changui, so it's in the blood essentially, you know. And they've created timber music, and it's in there whether they like or not. I'm not sure how. I know a little bit about Changui, but I don't really hear that in.
So it's all about guiro and about tres, really, what they...
And bongo. Yeah.
And they concentrate on timbales, and most of the percussion comes from there. Their timbalero is freaking amazing. And we discussed that recently as well, that they have very strong female voice, what is rare for modern timba bands.
And 3 trombones. And no, well, maybe they do have trumpets now, I'm not sure, but the typical lineup of them is 3 trombones.
Alright. Yeah. So that's basically no melody on trumpet.
There's no trumpets.
Yeah, so that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Because normally how it works, like this conversation, like more melody comes on trumpets, and then like fillers go on.
Well, it's much lower sound, isn't it? The trombone, it's more mid-range and stuff. So the top end isn't there, but somehow it seems to work really well. Yeah. Obviously, there's different pitches of trombone. Not all trombones are equal, but yeah, it's just they've got a very distinctive sound, haven't they? And I think again, it's another band. It's another band that you need to listen to and appreciate. That is it. Fresquecito. Fresquecito. There's an album which is really. It's got Agua Pa Yemaya on it.
Yeah, and then, I know which one you mean.
Yeah. We'll find out and link it to one.
Yeah, I don't remember what's the title of the album.
But the more you listen to it, the more you get into
I have a small story about this album. So, that was the time when I went to see them in London when they released this album. Obviously, they were selling album, and there was this guy selling, and he opened it, and there was like a green CD with nothing printed on it. So it looked like a blank CD, and like, wow, you buy original from Elito Reve. For my top, I had to choose Michael Blanco as well. And again, we could talk about Michael Blanco forever, but I couldn't choose one song. I had to go for 2 different ones. So probably my favorites are or Bembe in general as a song, and Andai Pegate again for more sentimental reasons. Like, I don't know, I always like this song. We made for our first show at La Suerte to Andai Pegate in the past. So it's kind of special song. Again, like very cool when it comes to accents, and we did even recently this musicality Timba challenge to Andai Pegate. Again, only because it was easy for me to prepare, because I know this song very, very well. And Bembe is different song. I would say quite unique when it comes to Michael Blanco. Michael Blanco, I don't want to call it pop timba, but in many ways it.
I wouldn't say that.
No, I wouldn't call it pop timba, but in many songs are kind of happy, a bit again different feel to any other bands. Very difficult to mistaken Michael Blanco's piano with anything else. It's again very specific, but Bembe is different song. It has this cool percussion part. And again, I had a story about it. So I was telling this story to Dave. When we went for a concert of Michael Blanco, there is this moment when there is this solo on kata and goes and this guy goes crazy, and then he go like they arranged it really, really cool, like steam coming from the bottom, lights flashing, like really cool concert arrangement. Like if you haven't seen Michael Blanco live, it is worth to do, because they put an act. It's not only about music in this case, but it's also an act. It's very, very nice to watch. And he goes crazy on this kata, and then stick breaks. Like it flies somewhere, it broke. And he goes with one! He goes even faster, and then you see people panicking in the background. Somebody runs from backstage, throws him the stick, and he continues with two. And that was like super cool thing. I will always remember this. Like from all concerts that I've seen in my life, I will definitely remember this one. So yeah, Michael Blanco and the old songs I appreciate kind of more. Then there was quite long gap that I couldn't say anything good about it. I mean, okay, there were some songs we were playing at the parties, but they were more like a party fillers that you need to play something and you kind of need to play Michael Blanco, but nothing that would move you a lot till the newest album that I think is
brilliant,
very, very good.
Gato Corona.
Very, yes. Yeah, obviously La Cafetera. Very, very good album. Like finally, I would say like Michael Blanco is back. So that felt pretty good.
I've got something to say about El Bembe, and that is it was the first time I realised that you could dance in the way that you do, if you know what I mean. Like, I remember there was, I don't know if it was like an improvisation class that you did, and you put on El Bembe, and I didn't realise that you could hit the accents in the way that you did. I didn't realise that that was allowed, or that was even possible or doable, or that you listen to a song looking for these things. It was a new way of listening to a song, it was a new way of dancing to a song, and it was just like one of those moments where I just went, oh, another level is unlocked. Opening. And yeah, it was a key moment. So if you see someone dancing to that in a musical way, it's really powerful.
We've recently did a choreography for Somos Cubanos, Los Von Van. We might record that and to show you exactly what Dave is talking about, how we dance to specific accent in music. Because interpretation of the song is very individual thing. Like everybody can interpret the song in different way, but like Dave is saying, it's just different level of understanding, different way of understanding the song, not necessarily following 1 2 3 5 6 7 1 2 3 5 6 7, but getting something else out of it.
These bands create this music for dancers like you and like me, just to be able to interpret the music like that, and to just dance 1 2 3 5 6 7 is an insult to the music, really, isn't it? But of course you have to do that in the beginning.
But you can start appreciating this kind of music when you are dancing to it. When you are dancing to it in this way.
But it does seem pretty random when you first hear a song like that and you go.
we should break down Bembe one day as well. Like, so I would like to make also videos in which we would break down the music, but we might try to do it with Somos Cubanos, because we have to say we broken it down for the class, so we could discuss that. And in theory, like breaking down the music, analyzing the music comes as fair use, so you can play music for that purposes. And we could say to YouTube, look, we are analyzing the music for you guys, so you can understand what is happening in it, and maybe they will allow us to do it. we'll see. We might try to do it. It might be just wasted time, and we'll produce a video that will never be there. But we'll try to do that.
Yeah.
That would be pretty interesting. And obviously Bembe from the same perspective, and then La Habana, the Matanzas. That would be another very cool choice. It's a bit more predictable, but there is one section that is very crazy. All right. This video is long now, yeah? We've been talking for about an hour now. It's supposed to be, I said today, 10 minutes, we just name our songs and we go home. But the last song I have to mention, I know that I mentioned more than 5, it's okay. But it's Terrorista, yeah? We already said about it before. Yeah, it is quite unique song as well. I liked when Tirso Duarte and Angel Yos were together in La Mecánica Loca. Again, I've seen them a couple of times live, and it was very cool. The first time they were playing a bit more sonish, you know that Tirso Duarte back in times was a lot more sonish than it was now. It is, I mean, now he's not creating much, which is big shame. And Angel Yos, obviously, is not a part of La Mecánica Loca. He's continuing his individual career, and his new album, we'll not talk about it. Let's be nice. But this one song, La Terrorista, it's fantastic.
I agree.
It's fantastic. Like, you have many Afro references. You have Abakwa parts. Like, how often you hear Abakwa in Timba music? Do you know any other song that has Abakwa references?
Is it Padrino, Nombrecito, El Niño?
Oh, El Niño, okay, yeah.
Again,
Okay, yeah.
when you hear, ya yo, amiga miñongo, ya yo, amiga miñongo, it's in Habana de Primera as well, Habana Mia is called the song, again to that. There's quite a few actually, yeah.
That's cool.
If you know what you're looking for, the problem is most people don't know what they're looking for too. But the singing is usually the key, and this clave as well, ba 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 ba, which sounds like rumba clave, but actually it's in a 6/8 feel, 6/8 or 12/8 feel, where it's like ba 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 ga 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 ga. Yeah.
Well,
and also Los Bamban. There's one called A Papa del Calabar, in which the song is sung in Spanish, but with lots of Abakwa, and it's detailing the history of the Abakwa tradition.
All right.
And it's kind of, I don't even know how to describe the rhythm. It's so like funky, and then it goes into a more like kind of timba or salsa kind of feel with piano accompaniments, and they sing Equi, Chabiaka Congo Macevere, Equi, Chabiaka Congo Macevere, which is just an Abakwa choro, you know. There's I know that.
But it's not in 6/8, this one.
No, it's adapted.
Angel Yos is. Okay, but when you said it's very funky, so when we are going towards funk, we have to mention your last pick.
Yes, so I've actually got a record here. Oops. Grupo Irequere. This is in French, this album.
There's Dile Catalina on this album.
Yeah, Dile Catalina on this album. The song I've picked is not from this album. But anyway, here we have, I'm not sure if you know them, but Chucho Valdez, the pianist, Oscar Valdez, the singer, and he also plays pata and various bits of percussion. And this is El Tosco, Jose Luis Cortez, who later formed Enje la Banda. So, and Enje la Banda are credited as basically inventing Timba.
Yeah, because they call Enje stands for New Generation or Nueva Generación. So it's the band of new generation. That's how they call themselves.
So these are incredibly important figures in the history of Cuban music, because essentially they paved the way for the rest of the other bands. Everything, all the bands, Habana de Primera, like El Niño, Los Bamba.
Didn't Alexander Abreu play for Angel La Banda? No, he was playing with Manolito.
Yeah.
No, not Manolito. Wow. Manolin.
He's not with Isaac Delgado's group as well.
Possibly, but with Manolin, I remember.
Yeah. So basically, there's a guy who's got Kevin Moore, who's created Timba.com, has created a Timba genealogy, family tree essentially of all the bands, and who's at the top. It's Orquesta Rave, Los Bamban, Irequere, and all of them have kind of like, they're like the fathers and the mothers, and they've all kind of been responsible for creating all these offspring, which are the modern Timba bands. So the song that I've picked of Irakere is called Awanile Bonko, and it's such a unique song. Again, it's got a lot of funk elements.
Reference to Ogun again.
Awanile, Awanile. I believe that means the house of cleansing or something like that. I'm not sure because I don't know exact translation of these Yoruba words. But for me, it's such a song that I put on whenever I'm feeling a little bit like lacking in energy, especially on a Sunday morning when I kind of want to be lazy in bed. I just put it on and then I just usually go around dancing in my underwear. But it's got like accents in it, which is like really repetitive. Please don't. Yes, I can just listen to it like on repeat like 100 times because it's just so powerful. And there's another song by them called Juana 1600. I don't know how you say that in Spanish. And again, that's so creative because they started off with bata toques at the beginning, and they just play that like just on all or second, no singing whatsoever. And then the bass comes in, and then like the synth comes in, and then like they've got an amazing brass section which just do acrobatics essentially. You know, it's just I don't know why they do it. It's just the feats that they perform on those instruments is incredible. Like
they are definitely inspiration for many bands. Again, one of the reasons is that some of these musicians created their own projects in the future. We used to play Bacalao con Pan a lot during classes, like super funky, fast song. The guitar that is.
Yeah. It's got a lot of wah-wah on it. Wah-wah pedal.
It's very
Hendrix.
Very cool stuff. And when you mention Kevin Moore, that's
Kevin Moore.
Kevin Moore, yeah. When you mention Kevin Moore, he wrote a book, Understanding Clave, and he based this book on Dila Catalina song. So again, originally by Irakere.
Is it originally by?
I don't know actually. I don't know. Yeah, it could be. There
it's
could
very
be something.
Difficult to tell how far these songs.
But I don't know any arrangement that would be before that because this is again early 70s. Again, it might be the question of recording that somebody wouldn't record it because it was not so easy to record. Like actually, I noticed on the album that Dave had there, it's recorded by Egrem. So that's like a music production company, probably the only one in Cuba that was recording literally everything related to timba or son or traditional Cuban music or even funky music. Like Irakere is a very interesting band. We could talk about it a lot longer. They are one of the Cuban bands that got Grammy Award as well. One of the first ones. So definitely, if you never heard Irakere, give it a go. It's not the easiest music to listen at the beginning again. Maybe again, we'll put in links songs that we think that are a bit more approachable. Some of them are really hard to listen. Even like for me, I have no pleasure to listen most of them, to be honest, but there are again some songs that are definitely worth giving a go.
They kind of went down a jazz route later on in the career, and I'm not a big fan of that, but this period when there's a lot of funk involved and also a lot of Yoruba references, like in that Juana 1600 song, oh my god, there's a bit, actually I've only realised recently that they're singing Ayina Buka Mawu Ayina Buka Ka Mawu Ayina Buka Ka. So it's a song for Django which we actually learned recently. We did it in the live class. So it feels so rich, Cuban music in general, and a band like Calle Real probably, even though I love them, they don't seem to have that depth of references to the religious aspects and stuff. But
again, like when you showed this cover of this album, those musicians in there, they are very young, yeah. And then if you think about it, Chucho Valdez has his he doesn't look like he's bald now. And you showed me do you recognize these people? I'm like, and if you said this is Chucho Valdez, and I like come on, actually he's wearing this weird hat now also, that's like old man.
I know what you mean. Yeah, like a flat cap.
Beret in Polish. I don't know how
beret,
What is it, beret? Yeah, so like I was like, oh, is it him really? Anyway, he has a
Age is a
Facebook.
terrible thing.
Facebook. He has a Facebook page where he's streaming live very often as well, but playing piano by himself. Pretty cool stuff, really. I mean, again, sometimes it goes too jazzy for me. Yeah, I don't want to go this direction. We could talk about it again for longer. Like Pedrito Martinez again, like his first covers that he was playing in this small club in New York, like La Luna, Que Palo, freaking amazing arrangements, and then it evolved in my opinion, to jazz. So Pedrito Martinez, if you are watching us as well, do some cool timba, and we will dance to it. Okay, that was good. Our top 10 was not really top 10, but I hope you enjoyed this and you learned something and it inspired you to listen to some of this music, because this is the goal, really. This is our goal, that you will open for Cuban music, that you will start listening to it a bit more, and it will give you a lot freedom while dancing. Freedom kind of comes with rules. This is quite an interesting thought. It will be again next episode. No, I'm joking. But once you learn rules, it gives you a lot more options to play around them. So once you start understanding this music, once you listen to a bit of it, once you have a lot of knowledge, like even when it comes to lyrics, like Dave is saying, the classes we are doing on Thursday nights now, in this specific way that we are singing, we told you that we do them for a bit selfish reasons, because we want to be more familiar with these lyrics as well, to be able to locate them quicker, to be able to respond to them quicker, and we would like you to have at least small feel of it as well. Then dancing to songs that you already know, or the songs that you don't know yet, has very different dimension than just 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Okay, we'll finish here. It was a good chat. It evolved completely different direction than we planned at the beginning, but it was good. Thanks for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, and press the bell. Like, subscribe, and press the bell. In next episode, me and Dave will meet to discuss bachata. No, this is a joke. No. I might do something with Andy. Who knows? Like, he's very keen on bachata. We started calling him Bachata Doctor.
Al médico de bachata.
Bachata Doctor. And I didn't tell him that yet, but maybe when he watches that he will know. I'm thinking about, so we'll do a quiz, yeah, in just before Christmas, and I was thinking the next quiz we'll do about bachata, just to make it more difficult for you.
Okay.
And I thought that if Andy takes part in it, he will be relegated from bachata doctor to bachata nurse. Okay. So Andy, if you're watching this, you know what's going to happen soon. If you would like to see that all as well, please like, subscribe, and press the bell. Subscribe, pam, 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 and press the bell. Pam, pam. See, bye.